This conference will now
Yeah,
be recorded.
starting the recording now.
Okay, just do a little roll call of who we have in attendance. I could see the names on the thing there.
Oh, you want me to do it?
Sure.
All right, I'll do it. Bill Perillo.
Here.
Chris, I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name, Chris. Is it Suchi?
Susie, here.
Okay. John Dobis. James Duffy.
Here.
Dave Harden.
He's giving a thumbs up.
I see you, Dave. Jim Wilson.
Here.
Lisette Franceschi. Greg Can.
Here.
Jean Marie Sutton. Okay, you have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we're here tonight. Quick, the fire department is, they have, the way I understand it, they put some money aside for the American Rescue Plan to purchase a new vehicle, to replace a vehicle, not to purchase a new one. And they're looking for us to have a discussion. And if we are in agreement with it, we would make a favorable recommendation or not to the town council to move forward. So before I open it up to discussion, I put together 4 quick questions I want to ask the fire chiefs, and then the rest of us can chime in there too. And
Hey, Bill.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
I thought it'd be good if the chief could do a little presentation at the front end, just to get everybody up to speed, and
Okay.
then you could ask your questions. Is that all right?
Yeah, and also, Larry, when you chime in, identify yourself.
All right, Larry Ciccarelli. Bill, can you have? Yeah. Okay.
All right, chiefs, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. I appreciate your time. The little background on this is that we have been in the process of trying to replace our TAC 5 apparatus. Our TAC 5 is a combination rescue truck, pumper truck. So going back quite a few years, since the late 90s, we used to have a standalone rescue truck that was manned, fully manned. Late in the late 90s, the chief budget reasons decided to get rid of that apparatus and combine 2 pieces. So we now run a rescue truck and a pumper truck. And that's been going on since maybe 2000, 2001. That truck was replaced back in 2011 with our current TAC 5. This current TAC 5 has 110,000 miles on it. That's extreme for fire apparatus. Lately, this truck has been going through a lot of repairs, and it's time to, in my opinion, professional opinion, it's time to replace this apparatus. This is the busiest piece that we have. It runs to just about every call that throughout the town, excluding some medical calls. It does run on medical calls, but it's not the sole truck that runs on medical calls. This will run to every motor vehicle accident that it's dispatched to, every rescue in the town, and every structure fire call that we have. So approximately 2,500 calls, maybe approximately 2,500 calls a year. This truck alone will go on.
All right, thank you, chief. Okay, so I just have a couple quick questions, and we'll open up to the rest of the committee. What's going to be the disposition of the current tactical vehicle that we're replacing? What's going to happen to that?
Okay, so we have some choices here. We could do a trade-in. So whatever dealer we decide to go with, we can ask for a trade-in value for the vehicle. Chances are you're not going to get a lot of money for it, but that is one option. We can also, hold on one second, we're going to get cut off with this dispatch.
23 Upper Stratford Andrew Street for the unresponsive. Repeating. 803 and engine 2. 484 Greenfield Ave. 23 Upper Stratford Andrew Street for the unresponsive.
Sorry about that. We get cut off. Another option would be to sell it privately. we could market it and sell it to either another fire department on our own, or that this specific vehicle might be entertaining to a construction company or a large towing company because of the amount of storage on the apparatus.
So there's some return value on it.
There is.
Okay.
I'm looking maybe $50,000 we can probably recoup. That might be on the high end, but that is an option.
All right. Well, let's use that as a baseline number. So today we're looking to secure 100,000, and you maybe could recover up to 50,000.
Correct.
Possibly. Okay. What kind of analysis have you guys done to evaluate this newer vehicle?
Well, let me back up a little bit. So we looked at all the repairs that are happening with this vehicle. So talking with the town mechanic and the chiefs ourselves, there's a lot of downtime on this vehicle. So we feel it's necessary to replace. Downtime, the cost to repair, and obviously the meeting with the town mechanics, we feel it's in our best interest to replace it.
Okay. And I trust that you guys have done that. And I think you said in the opening, which I did have a question about, what is the value to our community for this vehicle? But you kind of summed that up, that it's goes on many calls, high volume calls.
Yeah, and this apparatus can, the last thing we want to do, and let me go into a little segue here. The last thing we ever want to do as emergency responders is to show up at an incident and not be prepared to handle it. This is the type of truck that you want to show up because it's got just about every tool imaginable to mitigate any situation. You hear a lot of towns have heavy rescue trucks. We don't have that capability of doing that. It's very expensive to run a heavy rescue truck and man it as a heavy rescue truck. This actually does a dual feature. It can run as an engine. It could be first due at a structure fire and put water on a fire, as well as do an extrication or fast entry, tactical type entries into a building. It's got all that capability.
Okay. I'll open up the conversation to the rest of the committee here. Anyone have anything to ask the chiefs?
Mr. Chairman, Jim Duffy.
Jim, go ahead.
Chief, I was doing some of my due diligence ahead of time, trying to do some research before the meeting. I had a few questions for you. I was looking on the purchasing department website and I didn't see that there was any kind of a bid or anything out there for this. Can you kind of explain to me the process as to how you're going through this or looking for this vehicle? Like I said, I wasn't able to find anything for like an RFP or anything on there.
Okay, so initially we went out with an RFP several months back, and that kind of got flushed. There's a lot of bumps in the road, so we decided as a committee to scrap that. So what we did now is we went with this HGAC.
Okay.
HGAC is basically government funding. So all the vendors that are qualified for that, they all have to. It's already pre-bid basically. So the first page, for instance, anybody who bids on it, the first page is all going to be the same. All the numbers are going to be the same because the frame, the motor, all that has already been bidded out at government pricing. So we got the lowest possible pricing at that level.
Okay, yeah, I'm familiar with it. I think you've used that for the tower before.
We did.
So with that being said, how many have you identified who you're looking to put the bid through, or how many people have, or how many companies meet the bid spec at this point in time?
Okay, so we had four companies that actually bid on the truck, all HGAC. One of them we had to eliminate right off the bat because of the location of their repair facility. It was too far away. It was in Massachusetts. So with that, we just exclude them. We're looking for somebody as local as possible. Because these things do go down, and when they go down, we don't want them out of the state, obviously. We don't want them out of town for a long period of time. So we had 3 solid bids on this truck.
Okay. And is there one that you guys are leaning towards? Like, what's the price range between all 3 of these, I should say, maybe?
So that's a great question because the price range was very similar in all, which I would kind of expect. However, it's very high. Um, so we're looking at Pierce. I'm not going to be beating around the bush. Pierce came in as the top bid. They weren't the cheapest, but they gave us everything that we were looking at. They didn't beat around the bush. They were the best to deal with. We find that their reliability is top notch. They were Johnny on the spot anytime we called them. They priced it out almost like buying a car. That's what the committee even said. The committee said, "Oh, you want this? Here's the price. You want to exclude that? There's the price coming off." It was very
Transparent.
very transparent. Yeah, good point. Very transparent.
With that being said, and I have some familiarity with them too, since we've got two pieces coming from Pierce at my department right now as well. They had a price increase coming up recently. Is there a guarantee on this price? I believe it was supposed to be even today, I think, that they were going to have a decent price increase. I know we
Yes.
had locked in on a pumper and a ladder, and we were able to get those prices before all this stuff hit. So I'm just curious what kind of, if we can guarantee the price on these.
So we talked to him about that, and he is going to hold our price at what they quoted us, pending council approval. So they're holding the truck until that date. Did we lose him?
Looks like he's still on.
Maybe.
All right, he's on now. All right, when we're waiting for Jim to get back on, anybody else have any questions for the chiefs?
Greg King.
Go ahead, Greg.
Thank you, Bill. Hi, Brian.
Hey, Greg, how are you?
All good. You may not want to volunteer the purchase price itself, but is it greater than $7,000?
You're breaking up a little bit. Yes, it is greater than the 750 that we budgeted for. So we're looking for your support, obviously,
Yeah.
to be part of this, and looking for up to $100,000 difference. Based on what we're hearing, it's not good. We're not going to need that much, but it's always good to have that buffer.
So for the town council at its January meeting, approved, how do you say, the town to go forward with the FEMA, $750,000, and the town recognized that it would require at least $75,000 in town match. So I think the council's on board with the truck, the FEMA, and the process that Brian described earlier. So I think we're all good. Thank you.
That's good to hear. I
Thank you,
wasn't
Greg.
aware of that. I didn't know what the council discussed. That's good that they matched the 75.
Mr. Chairman, can you hear me? I'm back online again. Jim
Yeah,
Duffy.
we thought we lost you. We just went around.
Yeah, something happened to my camera
Go
there.
ahead. That's fine. Go ahead.
Going back to some of the other questions I had, because understanding that this is something that's relatively desperately needed due to the maintenance issues on it. And I know every time I've been driving by headquarters lately, it's always been out of service. What kind of time frame is Pierce offering, let's say, for getting this truck constructed and built into the town?
We're looking at a minimum of 18 months.
And any of the other bidders, are they able to come in any quicker? Because I know those, timeliness of being able to get this truck and keep it running for that period of time.
Okay, so I did discuss this with the town mechanic. He has no problem keeping it running. It's just how much money you want to keep dumping into it. That's the whole process of us getting ahead of it and purchasing a new truck.
My concern is that we're going to have to go and spend a significant more amount of money just to keep this thing running long enough to get this particular truck in. And I've got no problem with Pierce at all. I just know, as you said, 18 months is going to be a long time. And if we have something catastrophic go on, that could be, motors 50 grand, or more,
Right.
and that's a lot of money.
So we have a lot of confidence in our town mechanics. They've been doing an excellent job keeping these things up and running. The motor on it is actually pretty solid. It's most of the other components that are starting to fail. Duly noted. I mean, it's getting on an age. The rust is getting to it. We're just dumping money hand over fist into this thing lately. In the past 3 years, yeah, since 2018, we put almost $60,000 into repairs and just repairs.
Mhm. And I remember prior to 2018, even there was an issue with the tank on it, and there was a lot of other issues that came before our committee before this. So it seems like it's been a continual process.
Correct.
And also another thing is when I was doing some research on this and trying to find the vehicle, I noted in the last town council minutes that you're putting in for a grant for new tools for it. It looked like the electric tools.
Correct.
Tools. Now, in the event that that grant doesn't come through, how is the spec written to be able to handle moving the tools in the current vehicle to the new vehicle, with regard to reels, onboard, generators, everything, so that, we're not going to be stuck in a situation of having to go and appropriate a large sum of monies in a very short amount of time to get the vehicle on the road?
Okay, I'm going to let Deputy Chief Atkinson answer that. He sat on the committee with that.
Inside that amount, Jermaine Atkinson, Deputy Fire Chief, inside that amount, we still have an upfit charge. So they have an allowance in that amount, in that $100,000, to be able to upfit and retrofit basically the stuff off the old truck in the event that we didn't get that funding. Another option would be to submit that as part of the capital budget going forward. Since we have a little bit of time on it, we have that 18-month time frame in order to budget out for that in the future.
Okay. And I think that's most of what I have to go for. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Is anybody else have any questions for the chief?
Hey, Bill, Chris Ducey had a quick one for the chief.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was just wondering, what is your typical mileage you use for replacement? Is this the high mileage in the fleet, or?
This is the highest one.
This is the highest we've had in a long, long time. So it's hard to say. You don't really go by mileage all the time. You go by wear and tear in the vehicle, replacements, hours of operation. There's a lot that goes into play. And obviously we have to look at what our mechanic is telling us too.
Thank you. John Dobas just showed up. John, we're talking about the new truck. Do you have any questions for the chiefs? John, your mic's not on. Your audio.
Sorry about that. Hello, everybody. I'm sorry I'm late here. I thought it was 6:30.
That's all right. Do you have any questions for the fire chiefs?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Well, I think in attendance, I think only Greg Can is the with the council, and as a committee, I'm all for it. From my position, we can all vote on that, or encourage or make a favorable recommendation for Greg to bring back to the council unless somebody has any objections to it.
Mr. Chairman, Jim Duffy, I make a motion that we pass a favorable recommendation to the council.
I agree with that. Anybody else different on that? Okay. I think we'll.
This is Margot, the recording secretary. I just want to clarify, the motion is to forward additional funding in the amount of up to $100,000 to the town
Correct.
council with a favorable recommendation. Is that correct?
That's our motion. That's correct.
Thank you. Thank you.
And unless there's any objections to that. Greg?
No, I apologize.
Okay. All right, then we'll conclude the meeting. And
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
What's the formality?
Was there a second? Was there a second on that motion?
Oh,
Dave Harden.
Jim Duffy. All right. Yeah, Harden seconded. Jim Duffy made it. Dave Harden.
Okay, and the vote.
No objections.
Why don't you vote on it, Bill?
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
No one opposed. All right, Margot, what's next? What do we do here for these special meetings?
If you're done, get a motion to adjourn, get a second, vote on that, and then say night.
All right, a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
John
Dave
Dobis.
Harden.
Dave Harden, second. A meeting
Thank you,
adjourned.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, guys, taking that time out. Everybody stay safe.
Take care. Take care, Jim.
See ya, Dave.
John, take care.
Take care, David. Be good.
Yep.